What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing tonight? I know no one's here yet, and normally isn't for a minute or two. Can I most likely be the first one? And we got new lighting, as you can see. The painting I did last night is over there. Hope y'all watched the full video, because it definitely helps if you do. Hey, how you doing, Ken? Did you watch the full video this time? That painting is so easy, you could do it, Ken. There's nothing to it. Nothing to it. Am I lagging tonight? Get the mic a little bit closer, maybe that'll help. Hey Trinity, how you doing, sweetie? Oh yeah, that's nice. A gifted membership, huh? Wow. That's nice. Tired? I'm tired too. I worked today too. Still trying to get used to my new glasses. I don't really think they've improved my vision that much. And I have this eye disease now, which I didn't tell anybody about yet, but I have to take a vitamin in the morning and one at night too. Hey Jamie, glad to see you made it. Was that little painting and give you any help on doing the underwater stuff? There's a few more things you could do, like add some little dots, you know, for bubbles. I actually did them on this one as an afterthought, but you can't quite see it from here. But also, if you can, after you do the white for the bubbles, just circle the little bubbles with a little bit of black or gray. Yeah, also, well, okay, it's okay. Hi Caitlin, how you doing, sweetie? Well, YouTube's not showing the right number now. That's nice. 1, 2, 3, 4 people here, and it's only showing 3. Well, plus me. You just got off. I figured you probably were just getting off work, Caitlin. I appreciate you coming on. Yeah, Jamie, I was going to put more fish in there, but the whole purpose of that tutorial really was, it was kind of geared toward you, and I knew you needed some help with that, so I wanted to go ahead and do that. And I don't even know what most tropical fish look like. I mean, you probably could paint a fish any color you wanted to and call it a tropical fish and put stripes on it or whatever. And I actually did get a picture of a few other ones and thought about putting some on there later. Yeah, you want to start a lighter color at the top, but still, mine could have been a little bit darker on the top, but bring it darker as you go down. And then you can put your light from up the top, wherever you want your light source to come from, and put them kind of at a rounded, you know, half moon up top. Let it dry. You probably have to hit it again if it's acrylic. And then bring them little light sources down to shine on whatever you want to shine on. You don't always have to do that, but it does help. Yeah, Ken, I did talk to Recon. He did text me and say that he was going to be home about 10:30, but he would be on as soon as he could. I did send Brad a text too and told him people have been asking about him to at least jump in and say howdy anyway. Whether he will or not, I have no idea. Can everybody hear me okay? Do I have the mic too far away, or do I need it closer, or you all hear it fine? The original video I did had talking in it, me explaining everything, but it was pretty long. It was over an hour. And I have a hard enough time getting people to watch. This one's only 23 minutes. Getting people to watch one that's 23 minutes is tough enough, much less over an hour. Thank you, Jamie. Glad it sounds okay. Were you busy at work today, Caitlin? I bet Trinity was probably busy too, because she's works at Waffle House, and that place is usually always busy. You're packing for the move, huh, Jamie? Did you find another restaurant to go into, or are you still looking? Ah, that's nice. You're painting strictly acrylic, right, Jamie? Coworkers are not showing up, huh, Caitlin? That's not good. You want a flat tire? Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. Are you gonna go house sit for some people? Okay. Well, that's a good job. Hopefully they got good internet. I know you like me, you had the internet on the boat wasn't very good, so mine's definitely not that good. Okay, great. 2 villas, wow. Well, everybody learns every day, Ken. I don't say I know everything, because I don't. I actually learn from other people too, believe it or not. I find them, advanced people as I can find to learn new things too. Usually I do name my paintings something. I actually have a harder time coming up with a name for my paintings. Jamie might relate to this, I don't know, but then I do painting the painting. Sometimes I just have to make something up. I know one artist, he names his painting 1, painting 2, painting 3, and on down the line. He don't care about names at all. He was good too. He was a strictly abstract painter, but he would just number them. He didn't care about no names. How do you come up with a name for an abstract? It's just, some of them are kind of wild, so it's hard to come up with a name. And I've done so many landscapes, and you start thinking about the same names on a lot of them. So it gets kind of monotonous. Well, that's good. If your parents live in a good area, Jamie, that's at least you'll be safer. I suppose it's possible Mona Lisa had a twin. That was a long time ago when they did the Mona Lisa, when Da Vinci did the Mona Lisa. So I mean, it's very possible she could have had a twin. Who knows? I mean, twins have been around for a long time, so there's triplets and quadruplets and all that. The Mona Lisa has a good name, I mean, as far as painting goes, for good reason. Da Vinci spent a long time painting the Mona Lisa. There's dozens and dozens of glazes down in that painting. Probably more than dozens, probably more like about 50 or 60. I read what it was once, so it's some astronomical number of glazes that was used on the Mona Lisa. Which means each glaze is like a coat. Not necessarily the whole thing, but different areas of it. Of course, that was all oil. And he had to mix it every time he did it. You know, matching them colors exactly as every time, you know. A little difficult. But he did a lot of glazing on that painting. As I'm sure he did many of his other works. If you read your art history, you'll see that a lot of those famous artists, they knew each other. Michelangelo, Renoir. Renoir studied under Michelangelo. Basically, he helped with the 13th Chapel. I mean, he was the one up there using the stencils, drawing the pictures for Michelangelo to paint and painting some of the backgrounds, I think, and stuff. And Renoir was doing that at the same time. And, you know, he's a fantastic artist in his own right. Of course, Michelangelo, most people know, because there is a movie about him, and it was pretty true, you know. The fact he really didn't like painting that much. He was really he did statues, he did sculpture. He was a sculpturist. That was what his thing was, doing sculptures. And he did do some fantastic sculptures, there's no doubt about that. Has everybody watched the new video yet? And the whole thing? I don't know what you mean by 3 stages. There's really no stages that I'm aware of. I mean, you could probably break painting down into stages, a limited amount. Like, we'll probably go with Jamie. She probably already does some of the things I'm saying anyway, but a lot of people want to draw their painting first. I don't always. I might do a rough sketch. I may not follow that rough sketch everywhere, but I will do maybe a rough sketch, whether it's with pencil or my paintbrush. If I'm doing a portrait's different than a landscape to me. A portrait of any kind, whether it's an animal or a person or whatever, I will always normally I'll thin out some burnt umber. When I'm talking about whether it's oil or acrylic, I will thin it out very thin, and I'll go over the whole canvas. and I keep it thin because I just really want to just tint the canvas, because I don't want that white canvas glaring in my eyes. And most people that learn how to paint have to learn to do that, because you get like snow blind. If you're up north, you know what snow blind is. That white just blinds you and it distracts you, and it will actually hinder what you're really seeing as far as the colors go and stuff. So if you always at least put some sort of a glaze like over the whole canvas, you'll find your painting will improve a lot, because you're not looking at that white canvas anymore. And it took me a while to get that to sink into my head, because I'd always wanted to do portraits, and I had trouble with them. And that was one of the problems I was having, was looking at that portrait, trying to paint the portrait, and then my eyes were getting a bit confused of seeing the white canvas was interfering a lot with what I was seeing. So you gotta paint that background. Get that background painted. Paint the whole thing with just a light, very thin coat of burnt umber, or you can use another color if you really wanted to, and some people do. But I usually use burnt umber. Well, you would gesso it before you put the burnt umber on. Put your gesso on first, a couple coats. Now landscapes, a lot of times, if it's going to be trees and stuff, one coat's normally enough. For me. May not be for you, but it is for me. But if I'm doing a portrait, I definitely want at least 2 coats of gesso. Sometimes 3. Because when you're doing a portrait, anything like that, you want that canvas to be as smooth as possible. And you can sand in between coats, and that's normally a good idea. Whether it's on canvas or canvas board, whatever, you just take like a 220 grit sandpaper and lightly sand over it. Because if you ever notice with canvas, especially if you buy a canvas that's a little less expensive, a little cheaper canvas, you'll find these little bumps in the canvas and stuff. And that sandpaper will help get rid of all that and smooth it out a lot more. And if you want to do a portrait especially, you want it to be as smooth as possible. You can't go to bed yet, Trinity. It's not time to end the session yet. And where is Nathan? You tell him that I consider him a deserter. I haven't seen him on here in months. And besides, my grandson in your little tummy there wants to see his papa so he can learn how to paint. My great-grandson. WWE, huh? That's no excuse. That's no excuse. Watching wrestling is not the same thing. He could still have his phone on. Oh, he's watching WWE on his phone probably. You're super tired. Yeah, I have great grandchildren. I have I have 3 great grandsons and 2 great granddaughters. No, I haven't heard from EST. No, I sure haven't. I've actually done a lot of dogs lately. I'm sure you've all seen them. I need to post them on the website, I guess, or on YouTube somewhere. I've done a couple of dogs lately here. But I haven't posted them up for anybody to see yet. But I have them on my phone, so it's kind of hard. I'd have to move over to my computer to show you guys. I haven't seen ASD in months. Probably he's just doing his own thing, you know. He does that Twitter stuff, and that's basically what he's mostly interested in. I'm not lagging no more. That's only until I run out of gigabytes, whatever it is. Let me see if I can pull a couple of these dogs I've been doing real quick. Give me just a minute and we'll see what we can find here. Okay. Hey, Velvet, you made it. How about that? I was beginning to wonder if you was going to make it or not. Okay, Jamie, I'll show you a picture. I'm not sure if Jamie's seen any of the pictures I've done of animals. Have you seen any of the animals I've done at all, Jamie? Your battery's always low on your phone. That's why I give you an hour to get ready. Okay. All right, Jamie, this is my dog, Milo, right here. Now you can see I left the background pretty much burnt umber. Yeah, she used it for hot spot. Yeah, that's why. So this is Milo, my little doggy right here. And I use just paper for that. Not regular paper, but I use painting paper, mixed media paper. And I find that works very well because I like to, because of the amount of detail, I like to sit at my desk in here and paint it with a direct light down on it because of the amount of detail, especially when you're doing the eyes and stuff like that, and the fur. So that's one of them I've done. This is one I just did as a commission for one of my granddaughters. Hi Ezra. Hi Jennifer. This is my granddaughter's dog. Thank you, Jeremy. This one his name is Diesel. I just finished this one recently. These are all 8x10, by the way. They're just matted to 11x14. That's the same one. That's after it was framed, Diesel. And these were done in acrylic. I didn't do any of these in oil. This is the last one I just finished. This is an older dog named Millie. She's like really, really old. She's probably getting ready to pass on. And my granddaughter has this dog. She's got like a shared custody with an older woman. She's like in her 80s because she can't take care of the dog anymore. So that's what they've been doing. Hi, Ann. How are you, Annie? Great to see you. Welcome to Kim Cast Art. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So Millie here was done in acrylic, but as you note, the background is blue, black, and it's kind of hard to see because of the light, but there's actually some green in there too. And I do believe I used phthalo green and Prussian blue, and actually it's not black. I normally use Payne's Gray. Now Payne's Gray changed my world of painting because when people use black, it's just too dark. Payne's Gray looks black, but it's not totally black. And you'll find it works a lot better. And I had another artist tell me about this, and I've been painting for many, 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 many years. Never even heard of it. When they told me about Payne's Gray, changed my whole painting skill set, because especially doing portraits. And all I can tell you is to try it. Payne's Gray works very, very well. Use it. I use it instead of black. Of course, you can make your own black. You take all the primary colors and put them together. You got black. Red, blue, yellow. You got black. But and that's also a good thing to use. Use your primary colors for black. Yeah, everybody hit that like button. I appreciate it. Annie, do you paint? Or you want to? Are you learning to paint? So anyway, this is Millie. Millie actually was probably harder to do than Diesel, the first one. I mean, the second one. It's because of her age. Getting her eyes to look. You can see the age in Millie's eyes. Her eyes are very captivating, though. They look really alert. But you can see the age from the fur, the mouth. You know, the way the teeth are not great teeth anymore. My day's doing pretty good. How is yours, Annie? And the last one is this one here, which was done as a commission to a friend of mine. His dog Ginger passed away, and of course Ginger was pretty old. And he was pretty heartbroken, so I painted Ginger for him. And as you can see, the background is not complicated. That's something that you guys should think about. Don't try to complicate your background too much when you're doing any kind of a portrait, whether it's a person, a dog, or an animal, anything like that. Keep it as simple as you can, because you don't want to distract from the main subject. So when I see this picture here, I see the dog. I really don't pay much attention to that background because it's not distracting me at all. It's there, but it's really not distracting. So Annie, do you paint in acrylic or oil, or are you learning to paint? I'm a bit surprised Recon hasn't dropped in yet. Ken, you know Annie? Anybody have any questions? Painting animals can be pretty enjoyable once you get the hang of them. I've painted many of them before I got any good at them. Believe me, I've painted some that were not good at all. My own parents had a couple of dogs, or at least one, a poodle. I tried to paint that poodle, and my gosh, I thought it looked good, but years later, I thought it was terrible. Gesso. What was the question about the gesso? I think I answered your question about the gesso. Yes, you do gesso before you do any kind of a glaze over the top of it for your background. Is that what your question was? You like to paint? You paint in acrylic, or do you paint in oil, or both? Yes, you do gesso first before you do anything. Do your gesso, let it dry, whether you want to use 1 or 2 coats, and then go ahead and put your glaze on. Actually, you can. You know, some artists actually use latex white paint. You can just use a flat or semi-gloss, either one. Flat latex paint will work. It's not quite up to par as a gesso, but it's just fine. It'll still work just fine. A lot of guys use different kind of wood panels, and that's what they'll use. They'll use latex. They'll put several coats of latex on it because it's a lot cheaper. Well, if your work is dull, it's probably because you didn't varnish it yet. Did you varnish it? You can, like I said, you can use the latex white paint. If you can't get gesso, use latex white paint. It'll work fine. You can also take and use titanium white, thin it out with water. Not a lot. Don't add more than 30% of water to it. But you can use white titanium paint as a gesso. You can do that too. I've done it before. It'll work fine. Just let it dry. When it comes to varnish, you should always do at least 2 coats of varnish. 2 thin coats of varnish. All right, Caitlin, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Love you too, sweetheart. Now I use a liquid varnish. Sometimes I use spray varnish. I actually do have videos on the different types of varnish in the how-to section that you can watch, and even how to make your own gesso and stuff like that. You can also make your acrylic paint shinier by adding what's called polymer. You can get polymer in a tube. It looks just like the tube of paint, but it's a polymer. It'll still work. Acrylic gloss will be fine. It won't hurt it. If you don't want it to be super shiny from a gloss, just go over it real lightly with a little bit of sandpaper and just rough it up a little bit. That'll work fine. Give it a couple coats if you want. And like I said, one of the most important things besides gesso sealing your canvas is you want it to actually help make your canvas smoother, especially if you're doing portraits or animal pictures or something that's really requires the canvas to be smooth. Now, I used to cut my own panels out of MDF wood. It's like plywood, but it's kind of like a chipboard stuff. You can get like a 1/4 inch. You can get 4x8 sheets. And when I wanted to do the larger paintings, I would just go buy a whole sheet at Lowe's, and I'd just tell them to cut what size I wanted, and they'd cut them all up for me. I'd bring them home and sand them real well, and then I'd just paint them with latex paint. I'll be about 3 coats. And I'd sand in between each coat. And it was a lot cheaper because the whole 4x8 sheets was only like I think $12 or $13, something like that. And I just at Lowe's they'll do up to so many cuts for you for free, which is great if you want a Pacific size canvas. That works great. You know, sometimes if you go to like a thrift store, most artists, even I do, I go to a thrift store or Goodwill or someplace, and sometimes you'll run into these beautiful frames, old frames, that are in mint condition. They're perfect. And when I want to do a large picture and I see them frames, sometimes you can get them for $15, $20. Those are frames that are worth $100, $200 or more. But sometimes they're an odd size. So once you measure what size you need, you can use the MDF board or something like that and paint on that. Works great. And there's another wood you can use, it's like a bathroom panel. It's not plastic, it's like a bathroom white panel. It's already white. You can use that also. Just cut it to size, sand it up a little bit, and paint it white again. A couple coats. That'll work also. You can save. There's ways to save on canvas. So Annie, what kind of paintings do you like to do? Are you like landscapes or portraits or still life? Well, that's possible. I don't know. If you stretch it, you might find it might not be strong enough. Canvas is normally the best because the other stuff is just too flimsy, so to speak. No, I have no idea, Ken. I don't have any urge to get underwater and paint. I couldn't hold my breath long enough. It really is by far the cheapest thing to do by buying a roller canvas. But you have to buy the stretchers. It used to be more economical, let's put it that way. Whether it is or not, I don't know anymore. I haven't done it in quite a while. I do have a part of a roll over here of canvas. I just haven't used it. But of course, there are other things you need to buy too. You gotta make sure you have a good staple gun, lots of staples. You're going to need there's some special pliers that you use to stretch the canvas with, and of course your normal tools that you need to put it together with. So it just depends. But there's another route you can go. I go to a lot of yard sales with sometimes a lot of old paintings, or paintings that weren't very good. And the paintings, just not anything that you want. You can literally strip the canvas off the stretchers, especially if they're sizes you want, like a 16 by 20 or 18 by 24, whatever the size they are. You can take the canvas off, and then if you have a new roll of canvas, you just cut yourself a new piece to put on them stretchers, save money that way, because usually the yard sale, a lot of them you can get them for $1 or $2 and save money that way. And then you'll have the stretchers already for real cheap. Because now the stretchers are probably, depending on the length of them, that's how they sell them by the length. And say like a 16 by 20, you'd need two 16-inch and two 20-inch to complete a 16 by 20. So they're probably $2 or $3 a piece. I don't know, maybe $1.50 a piece. Maybe you can find them cheaper on Amazon or eBay or something like that. I don't know, but you can buy a 16 by 20 canvas for $5, $4 or $5. If you buy a 4 or 5 pack, they're even cheaper. I use canvas panels a lot, and I prefer them usually, especially if I'm going to frame them. I just soon have a panel. Now, if I'm going to do a painting where, say I want to paint the sides of it without a frame, then of course I want to use a real canvas. If I have a frame, if I'm just doing acrylic, a lot of times I'll just use a multimedia paper. So you can go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby or probably even Walmart, get like a mixed media paper. And you can get different bonds. This is 124 bond. So this is pretty thick stuff. And you can paint on this with oil or acrylic. And you can probably tell how thick that paper is. That's a really thick paper. But this pad probably costs $15 or $20, $15, but it's 15 sheets. So you can get 15 paintings out of that, about $1 a piece, somewhere around there. A lot of times you catch them on sale. Or you can get just plain old acrylic paper that's like 140 bond. 140 bond, excuse me. I use 140 bond a lot too. And that's even cheaper normal. You can probably get more like 20 pages or something like that. And on eBay, I've seen them where you could buy like a 2-pack, even cheaper, with 2 or 3 packs at a time. Did Annie Holly leave already? I guess she didn't have any questions for me. Hopefully she'll come back. Oh, Walmart, Recon just texted me, said he's still not home. Had to stop at Walmart to get baby aspirin. Well, just don't use too much water on it. It shouldn't shred. It shouldn't shed. How much water do you use in your paint? As a rule of thumb, you don't want to use more than 25 or 30% water, and less if possible. If you gesso it, which you probably should gesso it too, then there shouldn't be a problem, because the gesso should seal it. Even if you put one coat of gesso on, one good coat of gesso. A lot of people don't really know how important it is to gesso. I know a lot of canvas you buy says it's pre-gesso, it's pre-primed. Don't believe them. They're not always pre-primed very well. All right, have a good night, Velvet. Yeah, I guess I would be, but well, dab your water and you brush in the water, and then you mix it with your paint, I'm assuming, and just paint along. And of course, you know, don't let your brush stay in the same spot very long. But if you get, this is a cheaper panel right here. I buy cheaper panels a lot for demos and whatever, but a lot of times you'll get these cheaper panels, you can feel how rough they are. This says it's pre-primed, but I still don't trust it, because a lot of times you'll get like a little nubby thing on them or something like that. You gotta sand them off a little bit. You definitely want to prime that at least once or twice, and then you'll be good to go. Well, I wouldn't dab much. I mean, if you got a good area to paint, just put it on there. Just put the paint right to it. Just put it right on there. And of course, with acrylic, a lot of times you got to put a couple of coats on. Sometimes 3 coats. I mean, because acrylic tends to dry a lot lighter than what you really want it. So your first coat, you could probably use it for your base coat almost. If you don't have gesso, you could use that. Just a little bit more water maybe, and just spread it out really well, thinner. Just as quickly as you can, let it dry, and then go over it again. And maybe again. That's the one thing I don't like about acrylic. I hate having to go over it a couple of times. Oil, you don't have to do that normally. Oil, you paint it, it's that color. It's going to stay that color. Yes, you will always need more coats with acrylic. But I still use acrylic even when I do oil painting. I think I mentioned this before. I will use acrylic to block in my painting with what colors I want. If I'm doing a landscape, I may block in the trees over here and the water down here, the sky, some more trees here, or grassy area here, and I'll paint those in acrylic. Nothing fancy, nothing really fancy. Just try to get some of the tones as close as I can. It doesn't really matter, because the oil is going to cover anything anyway. I just block it in with that, and then I go over with oil. to me, it kind of speeds it up a little bit because I use the acrylic phase to plan out my painting a little bit more. And by the time I go to oil, normally that's a larger landscape I'm doing or something. When I go to oil, I can change my mind and it's not going to matter. I mean, I could have a green tree here and still paint blue over it. Doesn't matter. And that's really the best way to do it, to block it in first and then go over the top of it. It's a little bit more difficult with acrylic because if you get a dark color and you want to go over it with a lighter color with acrylic, it's going to be tough. It's going to be more than one coat. It's going to be quite a few. If you're going over it with oil, doesn't matter. You can go over with oil with whatever you want to put over the acrylic, it won't matter. You watch Recon show up right at 10:30. I bet your money, Ken. You can't paint unless you want to paint. It's that simple. If you don't want to paint, you can't paint. It's that simple. If you want to paint, you can paint. I've told you that a dozen times, Ken. A dozen times. If you want to paint, you will paint. It's just a matter of your desire to do it. I had to turn the air on. Getting a bit warm. Jamie, have you looked at a lot of the how-to videos I have? There's a playlist with how-to videos. Since you'll have some time house sitting and stuff, it'd be a good time for you to hit those how-to videos of mine. You'll find an enormous amount of information there. It may just refresh your mind on some things and some things you don't know, or that may help you to progress even more. And watch some of them older paintings I did, even in acrylic, and just watch the whole thing because usually there's a process to it. But a lot of my paints on here, the majority of them are in acrylic anyway. Just like the painting that's up here. I actually, if you watch it really closely, you guys watch it real closely, you see where I screwed up a couple of times. It's warm. It's in the 80s, Ken. It'll be hot real soon. Although we have had some rain lately a little bit too. But anyway, when you watch the video, if you watch real careful, you'll see where I've messed up. Because I'm correcting it. It's hard to do a tutorial a lot when you're doing it and you're trying to be on this time crunch. Because you're hurrying too much. And you can't take your time like you want to. That's usually when you mess up. But I left it that way so people could see that even people that have experience mess up. Yeah, but I fixed it. I show people how to fix it too. I think that's just as important thing to learn as learning how to do the painting itself. Learn how to fix something when you mess it up. And God knows I've had my share of mess ups too. I had to learn how to fix them. The only painting I haven't done yet for a tutorial, I've been wanting to, but It just takes so much paint that I kind of hate to, and that's a knife painting. I really need to do a knife painting, but it'll have to be in oil. And it's pretty time consuming because they just are. They're pretty time consuming and they use an enormous amount of paint. When I was studying under Leonard Abloff, who was a world famous artist, knife painter, if you look him up online, you'll see his paintings go for $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a piece, but he passed away, but he trained me for over a year. And I'm trained to teach his method. I'm certified to teach his method for that matter. And it just took an enormous amount of paint. I did about a dozen of his paintings at least. You did a knife painting and give it to your daughter? Did you do it in acrylic or oil? I've got to admit, I've never done a knife painting with acrylic. Because you really do need the oil. You need that oil to be wet for way longer than acrylic. Acrylic usually just dries way too fast for knife painting. It was in oil? Yeah, that's pretty much how you have to do them is in oil. So I'll show you one that I did here. Let's see. Okay, here's one of my knife paintings right here. Now this one was a pretty good size one. This one was like 42 by 46, I believe. I actually sold this one in a gallery. Yeah, this, I think I probably worked on this one for at least a couple days. And I'm talking about all day. So that's one of them right there. That one I sold in a gallery. And actually an older woman, thank you. An older woman bought that painting. And the gallery director told me that that woman came into the gallery every single day for like 2 weeks and would stand there and stare at that painting for an hour, and then she'd leave. And finally one day she came in and bought it. I sold it too cheap. I think I sold it for $400. But that was a big painting too. That was huge. There was a lot of work, a lot of paint. I think I sold it for $400, and she bought it. She didn't quibble about the price at all. And let's see, here's another one similar to that. Right there. This one was sold also. This one was smaller. I think this one was 16 by 20. This actually was one of my favorites. I really liked this one a lot. I hated to sell it. That sun was just so bright. I really liked it. That was probably my third one I did. My second or third one I did. And this one I got coming was probably the hardest one I did. This is probably one of the hardest ones I did. This is Stevie Ray Vaughan. I painted that one many, many years ago. And that was all done with a knife, no brush at all, just all knife. My son actually has that one. He won't give it back. When we moved, he grabbed it, but he didn't bother to bring it back to the house. But that's something that, you know, all done in oil. That one was also a pretty good size too. That one was 24 by 30, I think, something like that. Yeah, it wasn't easy, that's for sure, but it's not too bad. I think that one took me, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, because there's multiple coats of paint on it. It's pretty thick paint. I actually have prints of this one. Confetti, it's not confetti. It's just different colors. I'd say it's kind of more like a impressionist portrait. Alright guys, we've been on for well over an hour now, so I guess Recon's not showing up either, so just 3 of us, so I think we'll go ahead and shut her down for the night. Amazing, I did it 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, definitely. Learning how to use a knife has a lot of advantages, it really does. I should always try to do whatever you can. I'm going to be doing some other brush stuff pretty soon, like a stippler and different brushes that most people don't buy. I'm going to get some of the oddball brushes and do some videos on how to use them and how you can make things work with these different brushes. Anyway, you all have a good night, have a safe night. And Jamie, don't forget, if you want to do, when you decide to do the membership, just look in the description. There should be one that says membership link. Just click on that; it'll bring you to the link. And you all have a great night. I'm sorry we missed Recon. I'm even sorry that Brad didn't show up and say hi, but oh well. Anyway, we'll try to get another one as soon as we can. I do want to do another video as soon as I can. I might even do one tomorrow. It's possible. Well, yeah, it can be worth, you know, a limited amount of money. And it depends how many prints are done. I mean, I usually limit my prints to 25. So maybe when I'm dead someday, they'll be worth something. Who knows? but they're also pretty inexpensive. I've got like 5x7s and 8x10, 11x14, I think. Different sizes. So it just depends on the price and what size they are. I sell them matted already. All you gotta do is buy a frame and put it in the frame. I actually do have prints of this particular painting though, of Stevie Ray Vaughan. If anybody's interested, let me know. So anyway, you all have a great night. We'll catch you the next time. And hopefully, maybe I'll get another video tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try. Have a good night. Stay safe, stay healthy. And I appreciate you all coming. Take Jamie, take care, Ken, and we'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.